Welcome back, everyone, here to Brax Talks. Today, I got a very special video for you guys. We are going to be talking about 8 options for the Yankees for left field. Obviously, that's a position of need. It's a position the Yankees do need to fill. So we came up with 8 options that could potentially be in left field for the 2023 season for the Yankees. So let's start off with Andrew Benintendi, traded to the Yankees at the deadline last year and was pretty effective before he got injured, unfortunately. But Christian, what are your thoughts on Andrew Benintendi?
A shame we didn't get to see him in the playoffs. I really do think the series against the Astros would have been a little different if we had DJ and Benintendi. Both would have broken up all those strikeouts that we had. So I really like the idea of bringing him back. I think it's essential that we do have a lefty or at least a switch hitter in left field, because if you don't, then you only have Rizzo as your lefty or switch hitter, and that's kind of scary because we're back to like the 2020, even 2021 Yankees. I don't want that. So that's why I kind of like the idea of Benintendi. He's up there with my number one choice, 120 OPS plus last year. I think he's pretty much the perfect fit.
Yeah, all-star last year, bat to ball. Also, when we saw him get traded to the Yankees last year, he really started to utilize his speed here in New York, and that played very effective for the Yankees. All-star last year. I mean, he is definitely my number one choice. Was really good in the outfield too, and a lefty contact bat, top of the order, to give way to the big sluggers down below. I feel like he's just the perfect fit. The next guy is Michael Brantley. Michael Brantley, 35 years old, missed much of last season due to a shoulder injury, but he's been a really, really good hitter most of his career. Usually bats 300 more times than not. Was all-star in 2021. But unfortunately last year with his shoulder injury, he missed a big chunk of the season. But when this guy's on the field, he's a really, really productive hitter. But there is some question marks with him being, 35, getting up there in age, and missing a big chunk of last season. So we don't totally know how that will play. But Christian, what are your thoughts on bringing in Michael Brantley?
He's up there, right next to Benintendi for my number one choice. Has not had an OPS below 780 since 2017, which is really good. And he only played 60 games last year, a shoulder injury. But I don't hate the idea of it. When comparing him and Benintendi, he is the better hitter, both at their peak. Brantley is better, although we just don't totally know what we're going to get. Although I don't hate the idea, and guess what? He's not going to be able to play 150 games out there in left field. That's fine. Play 120. We'll be happy with that, and Oswaldo Cabrera can play the other 40. So I think I really like the idea of it. And similar to Brantley, we have Michael Conforto. Now, unlike Brantley, Conforto did not play at all in 2022, and he's a little bit more of a gamble. He's only looking for a one-year deal because he knows that he's a really good hitter, and he wants to prove it and then get more money next year. He has a career OPS of 824. I don't love the idea of this just because we're taking a guy who didn't play a single game last year. But, I could see Cashman doing this. He's a lefty. I like that.
Yeah. I think a lot of things would have to go against the Yankees' way if it ended up being Michael Conforto. He's a big gamble. He wasn't particularly a great hitter either in 2021, and then missing all of last year with a shoulder injury as well. Couldn't get a deal, right when the lockout ended, and then kind of held out for a while, and then got season-ending shoulder surgery. So he's a really big gamble. Not really at the top of my list at all. But if he's your best option, I guess you just have to roll with it and see what he can do.
Yeah. Then we have really all three of these guys. I mean, we kind of just grouped them together. We have Dalton Varsho, who he's kind of a weird situation. He's like a catcher and outfielder. I think if he went to the Yankees, they would shift him to primarily outfield. Yankees, they're not going to really try that. They're so big on defensive metrics with catching especially. I think they would move him fully to outfield, but he's young. He's got a little bit of power. He's coming off a really solid season. And similar to him, you also have Jake McCarthy. These guys are all from the Diamondbacks. Jake McCarthy, in his second season in the big leagues, had a really solid season. And I believe this is who the Yankees are like really looking at, Jake McCarthy, right?
I heard they're looking at all of them. I have heard McCarthy's name mentioned. I know the Diamondbacks want to trade one of them. Not too sure which one, but I do know the Yankees are interested in both of them. But I mean, yeah, they're both really good players. McCarthy is a little bit more of bat to ball, provides you that speed. 283 average last year, lefty speed player. And Varsho, he actually has a decent bit of power, blasted 27 home runs last year, and he could really be another big boy to add to that lineup and give the Yankees power lineup even more power, which is pretty crazy to think about.
Yeah, and the last guy on the D-backs, Alec Thomas, he is also a lefty. Every single guy actually that we're going to name is either a lefty or a switch hitter, which, as I said at the beginning, I think it's essential. And I think Cashman's going to bring in a lefty. Although I think the Yankees can do a little better. Although, hey,
they all are pretty young, though. They all are pretty young, which means
it would be more of an investment. So I don't hate the idea of it. Someone who would be probably my favorite move ever is Brian Reynolds. Now, this guy is a switch hitter, a career OPS plus of 127, and we're going to have control of him for the next 3 years. So he is probably my number one choice. Do I think it's the most realistic option? No. But there's been rumors about it. The Yankees can get it done. It's probably going to involve giving away Peraza, Volpe, Dominguez, maybe even two of them. This guy he's young and he's really good. But if you do it, best outfield in baseball. So
yeah, I mean, no, he's a phenomenal player. We saw it last year when he came to Yankee Stadium, blasted a mammoth home run into the upper deck. I mean, he's a really good player. But you'd have to give up a lot to get him. The Yankees have definitely invested in their shortstops. You'd probably have to give up Peraza or Volpe. I think the Yankees could get it done without giving up Volpe, but you'd have to give him a lot, an arm and a leg. But if you did get him, he's a really good player. But yes, he is a wild card.
Yeah, and I mean, the last guy is actually acquiring no one and just going with Oswaldo Cabrera, which I don't think the Yankees are going to do, but you never know. Say they go out and get Carlos Rodon, or maybe they trade for an elite starting pitcher. You never know, and they say, you know what? Let's give it to Oswaldo Cabrera.